There are stories that you hear from. I forget where I read it, but there was a story of someone, a religious figure in, I believe, Saudi Arabia, who was abusing very young girls. And it was like, not only was the abuse happening, then the story flipped. Like, they were these sources of temptation. So it was like the double blame. Is there an element of that too? That like it could be their fault. Like, why were they at the mall?
Yeah, definitely.
Disrupting this man from being a good district attorney.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, just sitting there, right?
Right.
Clearly they had to be doing something in order for him to be interested.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely accurate. I feel like you can't really understate the misogyny that's sort of embedded within American evangelicalism. Even the more moderate figures, like, say, a Russell Moore, who is very critical of Donald Trump and of Roy Moore, we're still talking about people who believe that women shouldn't be in any positions of spiritual authority in the churches, that wives should submit to their husbands, and they get very upset when you suggest that these beliefs might just be sexist.
Right.
So it's like the sexism that I grew up with was just almost cartoonish when I describe it to people.
Do you want to share some examples of that? Like, what would
Sure.
be? Because I mean, I think in these worlds, we're kind of like. I was joking with somebody about what happened in Charlottesville, and I was like, look, ultimately, like, if you're out with a tiki torch in 2017, like, you just, I hope that you just die, because I don't have time for this shit.
Yep.
Like, we got to fight subtle racism now, and I feel like in some ways, or not so subtle racism, but the point being that, like, you know, and the same with misogyny. It's like we're in a world where, you know, the rampant abuse and misogyny of people who at least know how to say the right things is exposed all over the place. So, but I think for people in this environment, take us back to that good old time, that for real, like, huh? I just said you should be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, women should be quiet and learn in all submission. Like, it's straight from the Bible. They interpret it literally. So we're talking about a subculture, and just with, you know, I want to say at the start, I am obviously speaking from my own experience, and I don't I don't want to universalize too much, but I do think these trends are common. I think that's fair to say. So what I experienced was a subculture that was very interested in making sure that women understood their proper role and that they didn't stray from it. So that necessitated strict modesty codes. So you would hear a lot, you know, you're supposed to dress in a certain way, and if you don't dress in this way, then you're potentially a stumbling block to men. You know, you can lead them on, and if they stray, that's partially on you. And I think that really is a factor when you're thinking through stories like the Roy Moore saga. Most of these people wouldn't come out and say, like, I think it's totally fine that he touched a 14-year-old girl. But the subtext is there, and I think a lot of evangelicals really haven't thought through the implications of the doctrines that they hear in church every Sunday.
Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos